Milky Way season is almost upon us, so what are my top 4 lenses for photographing Milky Ways? In no particular order, we've got the Samyang 14mm f2.8, the Tamron 17-28, the Sony 20mm f1.8, and for my APS-C followers, the Samyang 12mm f2. Let's start with the obvious, the Samyang 14mm f2.8. The field of view of this is huge. You get to see loads more of the sky, but be cautious when tilting up because you are going to incur a lot more distortion. Maybe raise the tripod up first before you start looking for more of the sky. I can't recall the price for this offhand. I think it's in and around €300. It's very affordable because it is a manual lens, and that's the next point as well that I'll bring up. So the price is quite affordable, and then the fact that it's manual, it actually is the best performer when it comes to accurate focusing. The focus by wire on digital mirrorless lenses as of late, I'm not a fan of. They're very difficult to get the manual focus right. It just feels like there's a little bit of a disconnect because it's a digital motor that's doing it, where this is actually physical, and there's a lock because I'm after trying to focus around the lock. So you can unlock it, then you can get your focus, and then you can lock it. So then if there is a problem with a lens creeping out of focus, which I've never come across, the lock, but it means that if you are going from one location for Milky Ways and then you want to go to another location, you can actually lock it in focus. And I do this for real estate photography when I'm going from room to room in a house. I will lock the focus so I don't have to change it, and it speeds up my workflow. This is great for if you're going from one location to another location, trying to get as much out of the one clear night that you don't get very often in Ireland. So that's really good for this. Here are the pitfalls of this lens. The bulbous element on this is huge. So if you think you're going to get filters for this, they're going to be wildly expensive. And for anyone wondering why would you need to get a filter, light pollution filters for, the east coast of Ireland where we have a lot of light pollution, they come in extremely important when it comes to just controlling some of that light pollution, seeing more of the Milky Way. I love using them, and I'd rather shoot Milky Ways while using a light pollution filter. Moving on now to the Tamron 17-28. Love this lens. Absolutely love this lens. This is probably one of the most used lenses that I own. Landscape photography, it's my number one. When I'm recording my YouTube videos, it's normally the lens I use at 28mm, but I'm using the Sigma 16-28mm. Now, the reason I picked the Tamron over the Sigma is the last Milky Way shoot that I did, I couldn't really get the Sigma to focus as easy as the Tamron. I had a little bit of an issue with it, and that's why I'm saying the Tamron over the Sigma, but I might just need to go out for another shoot and put them together. But both of them are equal. It's just on that one night, I just didn't feel like I was getting the focus on the Sigma. This lens goes to f2.8, same as the Samyang, so you can keep your ISO relatively low, but if you're using a Sony camera, don't forget the ISO invariant, so it doesn't really matter what ISO you use because you can always increase the exposure and not increase the noise. This lens also is a 67mm thread, so you can put filters onto it, so if you want to use a light pollution filter, walk away with that. The next choice is the Sony 20mm f1.8, and you know what we're going to be pointing at here right now, f1.8. You get an extra stop and a third. I had to look on the lens. You get an extra stop. I don't know how to work these things out. You get an extra stop and a third extra of light. So that means that if you're at 3200, you could reduce your exposure. I'm trying to count. Down to ISO 1250. I think that's right. Yeah, one stop down will be 1600, and then you've got one third down from that, which would be 1250. So I'll say it one more time to clarify. If you're shooting at ISO 3200 with this lens set at f1.8, you can reduce that exposure down to ISO 1250 if you're worried about having too much noise in your scene. Again, like the rest of the lenses, tack sharp lens. This is a prime. It is only set at 20mm, similar to the 14mm, not as wide, but this, I really do like this focal length. This is one of my favorite focal lengths. I almost stopped using the Tamron for landscape photography because I found that I was photographing in around 20-21mm, and I was going to just settle on using a prime the entire time. This is small, it's light, 67mm threaded to the front, so you can use your filters. Gorgeous lens. It's in and around the same price as the Tamron, so totally up to you. Do you prefer primes? Do you want that f1.8? Do you want to go for the Tamron, get the f2.8, have that flexibility of going from 17mm to 28mm on different shoots as well? Totally up to you. We get on to the APS-C, and look at this wee dinky. Look at this tiny little dinky thingy. So this is the Samyang 12mm f2. I know, 2 Samyang lenses. I am a big fan of Samyang and I do a bit of work with them as well. I own these 2 lenses. I know I got lenses off them in the past. These are my 2. I bought these. Now you can get a manual focus version of this lens. It is fantastic. I had it for the Fuji system and it is brilliant. I would probably recommend it more than the autofocus just because it has that focus by wire that, you know, I've already said I'm not a biggest fan of. But regardless, this is the same lens as the manual focus. This just does autofocus. 62mm thread, so it's not tiny, so you could still get a decent size filter on it. You can get filter threads, step down rings to get onto this size. Lovely, lovely lens, really sharp. Oh, actually I forgot. The reason I prefer this over the manual focus is the manual focus has a weird 4-point starburst, which I don't find overly nice. This has a normal looking one, but if you're going to be photographing Milky Ways, you're not going to be shooting at f16, so starbursts are no worries to you. Very affordable. I love it. I use it for the vlogs when I'm using it on the ZV-E10. It's a fantastic lens. Hope you liked this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, subscribe and ring the bell to get notified every time I post up a new video. Find me on all the social medias under Mark Duffy Photography, and until the next time, later gators.